Welcome to the Unblock Yourself podcast, our podcast where we have conversations together or with people who are chasing their dreams and living an intentional and unblocked life. Today's guest is Brie Pointer. Brie is an independent designer, illustrator, farmer, yes, farmer, and one of the best community builders that we know. She also happens to be one of the most colorful people that we've ever met in every single way. Her clothes, her personality. Seriously, if you know Brie, you know exactly what I mean. But what we love most about Brie isn't the bright clothes or the bold colors, it's her joy. She is absolutely contagious. In this conversation, we talk about where that joy comes from, how authenticity has shaped both her life and her business, and why building genuine community matters so much to her. Brie also shares the heartbreaking story of losing both of her parents in less than 2 years apart, and how she slowly found her way back to herself through grief, through color, and through the people around her. We laughed and we cried and we left feeling just a little bit lighter and brighter. Brie has a way of doing that to you. Here's our conversation with Brie Pointer. Brie Pointer, this is very exciting. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We are so excited that you are here. I wore a colorful shirt today because Brie, I wish that everybody... No.
It's a different shade of black.
Yeah. Greg is in black. Brie is in this hot, pink, awesome jumpsuit, which I'm obsessed with. I love it. I saw it on your Instagram, and I love it. You are the most colorful person I've ever met, and it is the best. Yesterday, I was walking downtown, and from behind, it was like this girl. She had this bright hat on, this bright backpack, these flowered pants. I'm like, even from behind, I was like, that's Brie. I know that is Brie.
Yeah.
It's just the best.
It's telltale.
Yeah.
And it's not just that. It's the water bottle. You picked a colorful mug, sock, everything. Like it's backpack. It's not just what you wear. All the accessories are bright too.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually think this is a great place to start. And what I want to know is, have you always been this colorful in life?
Yeah. Okay, if I think back to like high school, maybe people, if they saw me, would think I was very confused because like one day I would dress up like kind of emo, spiky belt, skull shirt, long red
with that visual.
Black pants. But then the next day I'd wear like two polos like layered over top of each other with like a little skirt. Like it was very confusing, but I think being able to explore fashion in high school and sometimes very questionable fashion, but fashion in high school was really, really important to lead me to where I am now. In college, when I went to design school, I kind of started out with all the wonky, like, bright colored green jeans. I was known for those. Or I had this, like, really funky, like, patterned pant that I would wear often. So much so that one of my other college mates who had a crush on me bought red pants.
Okay.
To be like, I need to, like, show Brie that I'm also interested in
I need to
color.
level up my pant game.
Yeah, I need to
Red and
score
green,
Brie.
though?
It was cute.
A questionable match, though. Or was it an intentional...
I think it was like he just wanted some
Something.
colorful pants. And it was really cute, I think. It was flattering in a lot of ways of like, oh, he's trying to like up his game and like he's trying to like show me that he also loves color.
Love it.
Design school is interesting though because it's all about like perfectionism. And when you think about a graphic designer, you think about, I think, a specific look. A lot of people do go in that like monochromatic, very minimal, like perfection, kind of like high-end style, yada, yada, big trench coats maybe. I don't know. But you start to like really idealize what a designer is. In my college career, you see me go from like this like wild, colorful pattern person to like monochromatic. I like threw out most of my wardrobe. I went to like grayscale when I graduated. It was like in my head, I thought that's the only way I could get any sort of job. So I was like very colorful personality still, but like it didn't quite match what I wore or like how I expressed myself physically. Every once in a while, like I'd pick up a colorful piece, but still not quite. And then I think when I really began to embrace color again was once my parents passed away. And then it was like finding joy in all those little spaces and what really means a lot to me. And so being able to express myself through clothing and through color and really find joy in those little pieces felt really, really vital and important for who I am. Like, people feel so good when they wear a lot of color.
Yeah.
And, like, how many times have I told you look great in color?
I know. Like,
right?
Greg does the same. I am so, my wardrobe, if you went into my closet, you would be so sad for me. It's like gray, black, white. I have some greens, but nothing that bright. Again, I'm trying to build on my pieces, but you have actually been a big part of this for me. So thank you for that. I think so many people, especially around like our age, it's like, okay, what are the trends and like how are we trendy and following those sites and those people that like, okay, I need these shoes for this season and this type of thing. I'm a little bit guilty of that for sure, but I don't know. I just feel like you're unapologetically you and you're just like, I like this and I'm going to wear it and the color, brings me joy. And that is so awesome. I think more people just need to be like that.
I think it took me a while to fall into it. I think it was like, every once in a while I'd wear a colored thing. And then eventually I got to the point where it was like, no, like this is what I feel good in. And like clearly it inspires others when they see me being able to like live in that authenticity. So I want to keep expressing that because then it gives other people permission to also show up that way. Yeah. If that's what they want to show up as too. Because confidence is a whole complicated game. But yeah. It brings so much people joy when they see me on the street and they can recognize it. And it's like, oh, that's Brie.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like I want to be able to show that. And I don't know. There's something about it being maybe like a walking mural or something, or a walking art canvas where it's like it brings people joy. And that's the whole point of life, like to try and find joys in all the places that you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to swerve a little bit and then swerve back.
Sure.
You dropped some nuggets that I think are helpful to dig into a little bit, just about things that we've learned about you as we've gotten to know you that maybe are counterintuitive with showing up brightly and colorful. And so we're going to get to some of that. But you talked about authenticity. And so let's just swerve into business lane for a second.
Oh.
Because I think the work you do as a designer is supporting and building brands for clients who you work with, but you're not overly specific and prescriptive about what you would give to a client necessarily. It seems like you are trying to pull authenticity, which is a word you already used, out of those conversations with the business clients that you're working with. Do you find that the clients you work with have a hard time finding out or figuring out what is authentic to them? And if so, generally, like, why do you think it's hard for people from a business perspective to be authentic?
Okay. Okay, so there's a few things there. I feel like a lot of people know and understand what their business is, especially as entrepreneurs, because you have to know. If you're jumping into this, it's terrifying, and there are so many things about it that like are unknown. So usually you kind of have a general idea of what you want to do, but visualizing it or turning those ideas into a visual, I think is where people get stuck. It's like they don't quite know what they want or what they like or like what makes the most sense for their business or their brand. And I think that's where I come in because I can help to like put a pretty little red bow on all of it so we can actually find out more about your business, more about your brand, and you start to begin to really understand those values and how those can be translated into visuals that then can be applied across all of your platforms. Because branding is a lot about consistency, and that like goes from visuals, but also like tone of voice, how you say things, how you show up in the world. I kind of like teeter on two things. People will often try to separate people's businesses from their personal identity, but I'm very much like, if you are running your business, there is a piece of it that is your personal identity. Like you want to feel happy and prideful and filled with joy when you're talking about and building your brand. So I think it's really important to have pieces of you scattered throughout it. Maybe in your business, you show up, I don't know, more structured than you would in your real life. But at the same time, you still kind of want to have a balance of those two things. Because once it starts to feel really inauthentic to who you are or what your values are, you no longer want to like work with it, or like it's difficult for you to visualize. If it's too far off from what you want to build or who you are, it's really difficult to understand what you're doing. Does that make sense?
I feel like we bumped into this when we were starting our business and we were talking about like, okay, well, we should probably have a mission, vision, and values. A lot of the values that were coming through for the business were our values. And we got some advice that like, well, yeah, they should be. Like, it should match your personal values, which was like authenticity, adventure, like some of these different values that we had already mapped were the values that were coming through as we were starting to build the business. So I think that, yeah, there's something to that. It's like it should be one and the same. And then maybe it depends if it's like a huge organization. Maybe the values won't quite align. But
I think once you start to go corporate, things begin to like definitely separate, which is why in corporate environments you can feel that.
Yeah.
Like there's a different bottom line where like entrepreneurship and smaller businesses, I find, lean further into like, what are my values and what do I want to hold true to? Whereas corporate kind of starts to separate it a bit. And it's like, well, we need to make sure that we can pay everybody. We need to make sure that all of the overhead is covered. Like there's so many bigger ticket items in corporate environments that have to be the primary focus, which then you kind of lose the values of where it started or what it was about in the first place.
Totally. That's why people don't love working for big companies all the time.
Yeah.
It's hard for people, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
I wonder a little bit. Do you have an example of, and without naming names, of course, clients who you've worked with that have struggled with that, struggled to figure out how to translate their authentic persona of who they are into a business context?
I would say not entirely, only because I work with a lot of small businesses.
Okay.
I don't generally work with corporate clients because I don't love the feeling of, I'm working with a middle person rather than like the top typically if I'm working in a corporate environment. And when you're working with a middle person, they have to really genuinely understand what that business and what that brand is from a corporate standpoint. And if they don't understand it, then it can kind of muddy the water between me and the goal. Or like there can be some maybe misrepresentation from that person. Because if you've ever played telephone, it's like if I tell you something and you tell Greg, then a lot of the times it's like, well, it might not be the exact way that I delivered it, right? So that's why I tend to stick away from corporate environments, unless, of course, it's like a mural or something where it's a little more like playful and fun and comes from like an artful space. I would say I've worked with quite a few corporate people in that regard. But when it comes to branding, I like to work with small businesses because I'm usually working with the business owner who it's a lot easier to like figure out and translate when you're actually talking to somebody and you can kind of get them on the same page and you can like talk through what they want it to look and feel like, and then communicate why this typeface or why this color or why this visual makes sense for their brand. Because a lot of it is curiosity and understanding. Like clients just want to understand why that's the decision that we made, and they trust me to be able to communicate that or like solve that problem.
Before we leave this point, because more to dig into, but I think it seems like, just prying a little bit, it seems like you tend to work with people who are able to thread that needle of figuring out what is authentic to them and then work with you to bring that to life in their brand. It seems that way.
Yeah.
Or just from your answer.
There is like people understand who they are, but sometimes it's like they could be kind of teetering on that confidence point, right? Like they aren't quite confident in expressing that authentically. So how do I help them show up more confidently? I give them their brand, a new pair of clothes to be able to show up confidently in who they are, which only makes them feel more seen in their own business or their own brand. And they can show up in that, like, I'm wearing this bright pink jumpsuit feeling in life.
I think we need a bright pink jumpsuit brand refresh.
brand refresh. Well, I think this is maybe like the last dig because it's definitely a leading question. So do you find that people tend to know and they just need the confidence to express it?
I want to believe yes. I want to believe that people truly know who they are, but they've been told to go in a million different directions from like social media, from other websites, from business books, from someone else's experience. And I think in business and in my experience in life, a big part of who I am is reflection and like seeing how I could have done things differently, how I could have done things better, how I can show up more and more as myself, and then not being afraid to question how I show up and be like, okay, that I could have handled that better. How can I handle that better next time? And I think a lot of times in small business or when you're in entrepreneurship, it's really difficult to kind of pull yourself out of the day-to-day to be like, okay, where am I at? How do I make this continue to work for who I am or what my business needs to be, or what I want my business to be? Because there's like a very baseline minimum of what your business needs to be. But then if you want it to be bigger and you want to keep growing and you want to keep doing all those things, being able to actually make those decisions intentionally for what you want, not what the book tells you, not what social media tells you, not what somebody's website or someone else's journey tells you. It's like, no, what do you want in your business and what do you want in your brand and how do you actually show up that way? And like, it's okay for you to try something And if it doesn't work out, like, you know now that that's not the direction that you wanted or what you needed, but being brave enough to take that step in that direction, if that makes sense.
Yes, it absolutely does.
Okay.
It definitely does. I really love that. I think that's something just for us to think about too, just through Unblock anyway. So we have a lot of people that are in the program that are building businesses and trying to figure out like how to show up authentically and reading all the books and, you know, and probably not really like doing a lot of the what is the business I want to build and how do I want to show up? It's like more like, well, what have other successful people done? And yeah, I think there's something to that big time that I love.
And that can be helpful. Like, seeing what
Sure.
other successful people have done and what their journey is can be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
It can also be a detriment, right? Because then you do the comparison game, and then if you're not at the same point that they were at year 2 or year 3 or whatever, you're like, well, what's wrong with me? Like, how come that formula is not working for me? Because it's not built for you. Like, it was built for them, and it worked for them for so many reasons, and there were so many factors that impacted their opportunity, their projection, their trajectory, their their business. But that's not necessarily what works for you.
Right.
And so being able to like take that, learn from it, take what you want from it, and then apply it to your business, I think is what's important.
There's a quote that's come through many times, and it has been a through theme that we look at what experts have to say and we look at what leading thinkers have perspectives on, but it always ends up coming back to authenticity. And the quote that's been used is authenticity is a competitive advantage. I've worked for years with founders of companies, being really close and in the inner circle of those founders. And founders have a magic power. Entrepreneurs, small business owners, when they talk to a customer or the market, there's something magical about what they have to say, it seems.
Yeah.
And I think it stems from an authentic feeling that I have something that's helpful for you.
Yeah.
Or I really believe in this. And it's hard to, you can't fake that. Well, you can, but
no,
I
I actually
exhausting.
don't think you can.
It's fair.
And the reason why I say I don't think you can is because I think a lot of the people who do like fake it end up like it comes forward in a way that feels so like this doesn't feel quite right. If people take that moment to be like, why did I leave that conversation or that situation not feeling elated or like joyful or full of life? It begins to take from your bucket versus fill it. When you're in a situation like that and it doesn't actually feel like true or authentic to what that person is or what that person wants to be, I think you actually do feel it, and they'll fake it to make it. And I'm personally not a fan of that saying, because I don't think that when you try something, you're faking it. You have to try it 110%. It's not a fake. You are trying your best to do that thing. And it might not work the first time. And it might not work the second time. And it might not work the third time. But you put your all into it, and there was no faking along the way.
That's, yeah, I really love that. I'm going to pivot a little bit just away from business. And I want to talk about community.
Ooh, okay.
Which I know is probably a topic you love.
I love community.
You are one of the best community builders that I've like met, honestly, that I've had a chance to be friends with. You are.
Okay, all right.
I love how giddy you got from that.
You're very uncomfortable with compliments.
Yes.
I want to commend you on how wonderful you are at taking compliments. Just how ironic is that?
Oh my God.
For the listeners, Brie is on the floor right now, laying on the floor.
Like crying.
Yes.
Okay.
You are, though. You've built this community around yourself, and that's a superpower. And there's just wonderful people, and we've been introduced to people because of it. You joined us at Waypoint Retreat last year, which was so great, and like extended your community from that as well. Wherever you go, you have this ability to build community, and it's like deep community. It's not surface level. I don't know if that's making sense, but and so I'm curious. Again, like, have you just always had that? Have you always known how important community is? And I think B, like, what have you learned from community or the importance of building it?
So I was always like a talk to strangers kid.
I didn't listen to my parents when they said don't talk to strangers.
Yeah, like I would go to the grocery store and I like wouldn't be afraid to compliment someone's outfit or like tell them they had a really nice smile. Like I wasn't really afraid of that as a kid. There would be times where like, you know, my parents would say, "Oh, don't do that," or like someone else would be like, "Make sure you don't talk to strangers." And I think I would like get in my head of like, okay, yeah, like maybe I should be a bit more safe, or like I would then second guess what I would say. The more time that I spend out in public, I think the more I realize it brings joy to people, and it also makes me feel good when I do that. I worked at Starbucks for a long time, and I think that's really where things like elevated. My managers would often have to tell me to like quiet down or use my inside voice because I would just get so excited to see my regulars, or like, you know, I was drive-through girl, so I would like, good morning, thank you so much for coming to Starbucks. What can I get for you today? And I was always kind of at that level. And, you know, there'd be some crotchety people who just want their coffee and they're like, why are you so joyful this early in the morning? But there was a lot of people who'd be like, I love the fact that when I come here, I know that like you're going to make me smile in some way. And so I think over time with lots of practice, I stopped hearing that voice that was like, why did you say it that way? I started to realize that it was less about me and it was more about them, in that term of like, if I'm joyful, I don't want anything to stop me from being joyful. And if they don't feel joyful, then that's not on me. And I had to stop like taking on other people's emotions. And as somebody who's pretty empathetic, that's really difficult. I think the biggest tidal wave of that was when I was grieving myself. So when I lost my parents, and then, you know, everyone calls me like sunshine and joyful and like all these things. But like I was experiencing this like incredible rainfall that I'd never experienced before and felt like so out of body and not like myself, which is weird and wild. But also realizing that in that season of my life, it was really important to sit in that. Like sit in that experience, feel it, because I love my parents so much, and losing both of them so young with kids, wild. During a pandemic, wild. But like I also do want to find that joy again. And so it was like small incremental steps to get back there and to find that spark and to talk about it, because grief and death and all of those things, for whatever reason, it's like a jump scare for people. It happens every day. It sucks. It hurts so much. And also, it's a really important thing to talk about and to experience, and to make sure that you have community around you to be able to lift you up. The more vulnerable we are with each other, the more community we have. That's at least what I've learned. There is a difference. Like, you can still set boundaries around that. You don't need to be a tell-all and say absolutely everything. But sharing a bit of your heart with other people allows them to feel the safety to share their own heart. So for community, that's part of it. I talk to people about my experience in life and my experience in business and my experience in community and all of those things. And when I have big capacity, then I try and show up in the best ways I can. So I'll host events and I'll like spend time out with people, or I'll go to events, and I make sure that like when I see people, they leave fuller than when they met me. And sometimes that means like being able to take on some of their weight of whatever their grief or their trauma or whatever they're experiencing is. But in those dark points of my life, I needed to be able to build that capacity back up over time, which just meant like taking some time for myself so that I could try and find the little sunshines in between all of the rain. And then now you get a full-on rainbow.
Right.
I love your rainbow.
You
I love your rainbow.
Full circle.
So you've alluded to this a couple times. So let's actually dig in a little bit. And thank you for being open just to go here in the conversation. First of all, I don't believe you lost both parents at the same time.
No.
You mentioned losing both parents. So maybe just give a bit of context there.
So in 2019, my dad got a second knee surgery and he went septic. I was pregnant with my younger daughter, Nora. And I spent the last month of my pregnancy in hospital with my dad, just trying to take care of him and spend as much time with him as I could. Nora was born on October 21st, and that was a wild time because from October 21st to November 3rd, when my dad passed away, I had to like choose whether or not I spend time with my newborn baby or I go and visit my ailing father, and my newborn baby can't come with me into the ICU. That was wild, like absolutely wild.
Sorry, Brie, I don't know what septic means.
Septic means it got like a really bad infection.
Oh, okay.
So
from a knee surgery.
He had necrotizing fasciitis before, which is like a flesh-eating disease.
Okay.
And they said like he survived it the first time. And so they were like, it's like being struck by lightning. Like, it doesn't happen often. And then he got a second knee surgery and then went septic, which they were wavering on what kind of bacteria was affecting him. So it could have been necrotizing fasciitis. It could have been something else. Like, they weren't quite sure. And so his month stint in the hospital was a lot of back and forth. We're amputating. We're not amputating. He's going to be okay. He's not going to be okay. We're not out of the woods yet. We're damn near the edge of the woods. Like, it was very conflicting and confusing. Yeah. And because of that trepidation across the way, like there was a lot of moments where it felt like nothing was happening. Like, we just need to stabilize him was a common reoccurrence. And so it would just be a matter of like sitting with him and like making sure that he was comfortable and okay and talking to him as much as we could. Maybe this is TMI, but like the day that I went into the hospital to deliver Nora, my dad still had like a tube down his throat, and my mom drove to Hamilton to FaceTime me with my dad so he could say like, good luck, like, love you. And he still had the tube in, and I was like, he's about to go in for an amputation. I'm about to deliver a baby. What?
It's real.
Yeah. Wild. So I'm FaceTiming him, telling him I love him, telling him good luck. He's like trying to mouth good luck and I love you as much as he can. And then we hang up, and my mom's like, you better hold that baby in because I'm coming there. And then my mom called me back like 2 minutes later. They decided not to amputate in that like 2 to 5 minute span. They took the tube out, so he was able to then speak to me. So I heard my dad's voice for the first time in a month. And he was like, I love you so much. Good luck. You're going to do great. Can't wait to meet her.
This is your second? Yeah.
This was my second baby. Yeah. So mom hangs up, races there. She's there helping with Nora. Mike is there, like my partner Mike is there, and I'm about to deliver the baby. Then I literally like spend, I think, 2 days there. My mom's helping to look after Ellie, and then I go and see my dad. So I don't see him for 2 days. He didn't get his leg amputated. He's stabilized, all those things. But it was just then this weird back and forth of like, I want to be home and like taking in every moment here.
Yeah.
But I also want to be there taking in every moment with him because he was like my best friend growing up. I loved spending time with my dad. He was the calm, cool, collected, like super chill guy, like just was down for anything, kind of just bobbed along with life. So it was a really complicated time. That was my dad's story.
And then just final question on the specifics here. Like, were you expecting that he would pass, or was it just all of a sudden then things went sideways?
They were still debating on the amputation, and they kind of like, it seemed as though the amputation was like, he's going to be okay. He had some heart complications when they first did the initial, they had to like remove some of the flesh, and he had some heart complications initially, which is why they were trying to stabilize him for so long. But the like back and forth on this amputation, it kind of seemed as if the amputation would like solve the problem. And so it was really confusing from our perspective of like, well, why aren't you doing it? Like, if it's going to solve the problem, then like, let's go and make it happen. Yeah. I mean, there's so many more complicated things to our health system, and like being a doctor, being able to make that call, and it could be life-changing, and it was. They did end up trying to amputate, but they never finished the surgery. So he passed away like November 3rd. My partner's birthday is November 2nd, so Mike's birthday is November 2nd.
Also complicated.
And so I was like, please, like, if anything, please don't pass away on his birthday. Like, this can't be happening right now. Like, it was such a weird, like, so many parts of that were very, very strange. It's really hard watching the person that you love the most in the world take their last breath. Whoa.
Yeah.
But there's something pretty powerful about being surrounded by your family, and then, going to his funeral and being surrounded by friends. Like, there were friends who showed up for both of my parents' funerals that like I hadn't seen in years, and they just like, they were there and they check in on me every once in a while. Like, that's freaking powerful. Yeah. So
yeah,
you don't really realize your impact on people until they show up in those like really uncomfortable places, and they just do it. I think a piece of it is out of obligation, but a big part of it is a place of love, and to show up like that consistently. Or like, I don't know, I have friends who will randomly poke in that I haven't talked to in years who are like, I love that mural that you did. I just wanted to let you know, and I miss you, and I think about you. And it's like, whoa, Okay, cool.
That's nice.
That is crazy impact. Anyways, sorry, that kind of...
No,
That's fine.
Sorry.
that's real. And then just without like not wanting to dig too much, but then you lost your mom as well. Just shortly after.
So Dad passed away November 3rd, 2019. We kind of just got back to our regular scheduled programming in January, February after my dad passed away. Ellie's just starting to get back to school. Pandemic hits.
Right.
We pull them out of school. We're farming at that point, so we're growing food. We're doing vegetable pickups. I think that at that point we also decided to move our farm, so we moved from Ayr to Baden. Like there was a lot of like big, complicated things happening, but it was hard. But it was like I think mandatory in a lot of ways. And then in that farm pickup, people like coming to our home, picking up vegetables and stuff. It's like I still got that feeling of community, and I was still able to have people gather and feed people in a safe way and in a safe environment. So I think that was super helpful. Grief is lonely, and so there were a lot of days where I just like sat at home and cried, but then also there was a lot of days where I did get to spend time with people from a distance in those moments. 2021, we started our farm season, and we were like, like I'm finally feeling the rock off my chest, and I think I've got this. And like, pandemic is still kind of confusing, but like I can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, whatever is happening. So we get into our farm season, and my mom has to go into the hospital for a scan. Goes into the hospital for a scan. There's something showing up on her brain scan. They're not quite sure. They do a full body scan. They find out she has kidney cancer. She's got 6 months probably to live. We're going to do everything we can to try and prolong that. But we're not quite sure. So, this calm, what I had in my mind is like this calm, cool, collected farm season, which is funny because I don't think anybody's farm season's ever calm, cool, and collected. But this calm, cool, collected farm season that I was hoping for, trying to predict, got turned upside down because now I want to spend all my time with my mom. We've got 2 kids who are not in school or daycare because of the pandemic, but then also just like life, we want them to be at the farm. And my mom is sick. So now I'm taking her to appointments, and I'm taking her out for lunch. And honestly, it's wild because I feel like in so many ways it was incredibly painful to be in that. And also, it was one of the best things that ever happened for our relationship. We spent so much time together. It kind of reminded me, like, people, when we have kids, we then, like, turn into mothers. So we spend all of our time with our kids and with our partners and our family. Yeah. In those, like, I ended up only having, like, 2 months with my mom. And those 2 months are so precious to me because we got to spend so much intentional time together. And there was a lot of, like, friction in our relationship when I first had Ellie and Nora. And I didn't really understand it. And I don't think my mom necessarily had the tools to communicate what she needed. But those blissful 2 months, I knew exactly what she needed. And it was just time with me. And that is, like, a wild revelation. And, like, I wish that there was something in me that could have been like, okay, I want more one-on-one time with my mom. And there were so many things that I felt like I needed her for still. But it was never just her and I anymore. It was like her, I, and Ellie or family gatherings or whatever it was. So anyways, those 2 months were really, really special. Mm-hmm. She got radiation and her cancer metastasized. And she was brought into hospital, and actually we had a family meeting, and they were like, yeah, she's all set to go home. And we're like, I hope you guys are prepared. Like, these are all the things that you can expect when she returns home. And like, it seemed pretty hopeful. And like, we could potentially go and do a different type of treatment, and it'll hopefully be helpful. And then that evening, after my brothers and I had left, she started having like these weird, like, seizure-like movements on the right side of her body. And it was like uncontrollable. And that was like the last like visual or like physical memory I have of her before she was sedated and calm. Yeah. So then she passed away. She passed away less than 2 years.
I was going to say less than 2 years.
Less than 2 years. Yeah. My dad is November 3rd and my mom is September 4th of 2021. So less than 2 years apart. And I had a child under 2 years old at that point, and my older daughter, Ellie, a farm. I'm a brand designer. I'm known for color. I'm known for joy. I'm known for sunshine and rainbows and everything in between. And at that point, I didn't even feel like I had any spark left. Losing my dad was really hard. I can't quite explain the lifeline that a mom is. My dad is a lifeline. Yes, in so many ways. Mm-hmm. My mom, I called her 3 times a day, sometimes just to say I love you. And it's kind of wild not being able to make that phone call anymore. You don't really realize what, it's almost like a loss of safety, like your mom, when you lose her. A huge loss.
Yeah, I'm I have to call my mom.
Yeah, please call your mom. Call her, tell her that you love her. Call her for no reason. What are you doing? What color is the nearest flower to you? Ask questions and get curious, because there is something wild about not knowing when someone's going to pass away. Yeah. And you think you have so much time, but you don't know that for sure. And I think that's where intentional living or being authentic or mm-hmm. being present. Mm-hmm. And I think we think about being present as having a conversation, listening. No, be present within your body. How does it feel when you spend time with someone? What do you truly want out of that relationship? What do you truly need out of that relationship? Because I think parental relationships can be very complicated, mm-hmm. But I think a lot of it is unspoken. Yeah. You need something or you want something from that relationship, but then you actually don't communicate what you need or what you want. And sometimes it can be complicated to mm-hmm. share what you want or need. Yeah. But at the same time, it's we're living here. We are meant to be present on this earth. We are meant to be present with each other. And we have so many distractions now. So many distractions between social media, TV, any sort of media, politics, the way things run, the pothole on the street, there are so many things that can be big distractions, but trying to figure out ways to pull it back in and make sure that you're connecting with the people who matter most to you, I think is really, really important.
Thank you for sharing.
Sorry.
And I'm holding on by a thread here.
No,
but I'm just reflecting some of that back, there's probably another whole rabbit hole to go into about the grieving process. Yeah. I think I'm going to try to pull us out of that a little bit.
You're no stranger to it.
Well, then it's just, there's a whole process you have to go through. And it, in a way, is an acute process, but then it's a process that stays with you forever.
Yeah.
I had a friend who she lost her dad, and then she ended up losing her stepdad within 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
Unexpectedly, and similar to you, these tragic circumstances. And she gave the advice when I was going through what I was going through of it just is like waves. And you have to just be okay with the waves coming and hitting. And it's not I think she was a few years removed from that experience, but it's still, those moments come, maybe like today, when you're having a conversation about design, and then it turns into a conversation about grief and loss.
Yeah.
And I just have to think about the dip of what you went through. When we knew you and got to know you, it was the person that you are. It's how you even turn that conversation into the lessons you learned about how important life is, to be positive and have community.
Yeah.
You're somebody who lives in that positive mode. Can you describe what moved you through that cycle of being sort of lost in a bit of fog and then into maybe just this version of you that's wearing color? And because you talked about that at the beginning, that really is maybe what helped to light you up and empower you just to be more authentically you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to actually bring us back to when I was in my teens for a second. I used to cry a lot, and I was a very emotional person. I still am, obviously. And there was some shame I held in that because, I've got 3 older brothers. I'm a crybaby. I'm the youngest sister. So that's a whole other dynamic. So there was some shame that I held in my emotions. And so I would often go to my room and cry by myself. And I would like hide away. My parents were also brought up in the era of like, you know, emotions are too much, like not in the sense that I'm too much, because I mean, they were my parents. They did manage me for a long time, but just like the way that I express my emotions. And now as a parent, when my kids cry, I totally understand and can empathize with how my parents felt when I cried, because I was not quiet about it ever.
You don't want them to cry.
I don't want my
That'd be
kids to
better.
cry.
Yeah.
I want to fix it. I want to, like, there's so many things there. But anyways, I would often go to my room and cry. And the things that I began to reflect on at a pretty early age were you move through your emotions. Like, it's not going to last forever. When you go to your room and you cry, or when you cry in public, or when you experience a big loss like grief, there are moments where you're going to completely pass through it and you will find the sun on the other side. So I think from a very young age, it was like, I actually just need to sit in this. It sucks. It hurts. But I need to explore what hurts and where do I want to go from here? Because if I stay here, I won't be the version of myself that I want to be. So how do I actually learn from where I'm at so that I can be the version that I want to be? Big motivator for me was my kids, first and foremost, my partner, my family, and also showing up in community, being able to actually be present with people and like be there and make sure that we are, or I am, able to support. I say we because I feel like my whole family is kind of a unit in community. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we were able to support community the same way or in a new way where like it's a bit more of my own reflection of like, okay, now I can support. It's like, unfortunately, it's like unlocking like a pocket knife of life, right? Now that I had a kid pretty young, so I was able to help a lot of parents when they first had their kids, and like I understood what it was like to have kids at a young age. Right. Having my parents pass away, unfortunately, it's like it's a Swiss Army knife, right?
Yeah.
It's like now I have that where it's like, okay, I have this thing in my toolkit where I can talk about it in a confident way and I can hold space for people who need space, because I think that's something that's really difficult is for people to hold space in grief. I'm lucky because I have people who have lost and who are willing to hold the space for me when I need it. And I have spent quite a long period of time now trying to like unravel the guilt that I sometimes feel of being the burden of needing to talk about it, but then recognizing that when I do talk about it, I feel lighter and those people feel safer in and around me, because now they can also share with me potentially. So letting go of the idea of the burden, I think, is something I'm still navigating in my grief journey, because nobody wants to talk about somebody's parents who passed away 5 years ago, you know? Like, there's like a lot of stuff wrapped up in that that's a little strange.
I don't know that I had like the interest, the empathy, the care, the ability, any of those tools to engage in a conversation like this until I went through that loss. I mean, I think you're a more empathetic person naturally and might have been
I haven't had major loss in my life, but I'm definitely feeling it through you, through the kids. Like I'm experiencing it in a different way. Yeah. It's like living with and raising children that have lost their mother, married to a man who's lost his wife. Yeah, I think I have a different lens, a different angle on it.
You have an incredible ability to connect with people who are navigating those things, and I don't know that I think that I can now empathize with people that struggle to be comfortable to ask a question. Yeah, because I was like that before. Totally. And I now feel like it's this odd gift, like a gift you would never wish for necessarily, but then a tool that you have, an ability to have a conversation that helps you connect with people better. Totally. And I lost a lot of people. I'm not sure about you, but I lost a lot of people who couldn't engage with me anymore. Just because they were uncomfortable about stepping into that space with me. And maybe it was because I wasn't giving some of my heart to community previously in the ways that maybe I do now. Yeah. And so the people were probably just not in the types of genuine and authentic relationships with me that I thought that they were. Whereas it's just all different now. Yeah. Yeah. It's tough because as a griever, the more I open up about my grief, the more it gives people permission who haven't grieved
to ask questions.
I completely agree.
Because it's very uncomfortable for people just to ask, like, what's your mom's name? Like, I've been seeing a lot of like grief stuff on Instagram where like people will go to like Starbucks and use their mom's name on the cups and stuff. And there's so many like lovely small moments where that can happen. One for me was I was running the Mary Allen Farmers Market, and my friend Morgan from the 3 Wellness, best lunch, so good. I was really sad and I was crying at the market as I'm running this market because I'm not afraid to show my emotions in public. And sometimes with grief, you just can't help it. Like, it's just like, that's where you're at. And unfortunately, if you can hopefully meet me in that wave, then great. But if you can't, it's also okay. Like, there's no expectation. Anyways, Morgan asked me what my mom's name was, and I hadn't spoken my mom's name in like probably over a year. And that moment for me was like huge.
Wow.
Because I was like, no one's ever asked that before or like yet. And it was pretty profound to like say her name out loud because no one really asks those questions. It's uncomfortable to ask those questions. Right? Like, or like, what was your dad like? What was your mom like? Yeah. The amount of response that I get when I share what they were like or who they are or what pieces of them still exist within me is so special, because then that actually allows for other people for them to still live on. But then also they get to know me more because these are the pieces of them that I still hold on to. There's so many things about them that like I have banked in my head, but to be able to actually express it out loud is so important.
This has been so great. I've just loved it so much. And I've learned a lot about you, actually. I knew that grief was a huge part of your story.
Yeah.
I didn't know the extent of the details. So thank you for being so willing and open and sharing that with us.
Yeah. And I think it is a big part of my story of like how I got my color back, even though when I talk about it, and especially to Mike, he always laughs because he's like, Brie, you never lost your color. Like, this is your own like internal, because like I still showed up for people. I still did the things. I still probably wore colorful clothing. But in my head, I didn't feel like me. And that was the color that I refer to is like, I wanted to be able to feel like me and to be able to show up the way that I normally show up. So taking small incremental steps to get that color back, I think was really, really important.
Yeah. So a lot of people that listen to this podcast might feel a bit like stuck or blocked in life, and maybe it's grief related. Maybe it's they're changing jobs or just feeling a bit lost. What would you say, just based on everything in your life and your stories and things that you've navigated? Like, what would you say is something that they could do? What's a way that they can kind of get moving?
I don't think people are going to want to hear it, but I think take time with yourself. Shut the phone off.
Oh, that's way harder. That's too hard, Brie. Just like, give us another one.
Shut the phone off. Take some time by the river. Go be out in nature. Touch a tree. Find moss. Pet a snail. Like, do things that connect you with Mother Nature, because ultimately you end up connecting with yourself in a lot of ways. Do some time for self-reflection. Write in a journal. Record a voice memo. Like, there's so many things that you can do, and to get all of the things inside out, you don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to show anybody. Get the things out of your body. That's part of being the idea of being unstuck is like the things that are in here need to come out in order for you to actually like wade through the water a little easier. So spend time with yourself. Turn the goddamn phone off.
Yeah.
Get rid of the screens for a hot minute. And just like spend time with yourself and get to know yourself, because you're pretty cool. So keep learning and keep doing the thing. And you got to show up for yourself first before you can show up for other people. So
true.
I think that's a big part of being confident and getting to know yourself is being able to actually sit with you. Do you like you? Because that's really important. If you like yourself, then you're going to be able to navigate the world in a whole other way. But if there are pieces that don't feel quite right, then there's some changes that have to be made, and that's okay.
You have to
but
figure out what
it starts
those
with
are.
reflection.
I think that's really great advice.
Yeah.
I do think people are going to hate it.
I know.
It's like,
I
actually,
don't
just
know.
do these 3 quick things. Do this 2 things.
But that's
eat
not
this for
life.
breakfast.
See, that's the part that like I struggle with, is that we have all these like quick fixes, and Instagram, I have a love-hate relationship with it because
Same.
there are so many like quick fixes do you want to post on Instagram? Have these 12 hooks just in your back pocket. What? Like, I don't want these 12 hooks. Like, I'm just a girl.
Yeah.
I'm just a girl who wants to be in this world in a place of connection and community and like joy. And it's not about quick fixes. It never was. Like, in any realm, I feel like the concept of like, there's a pill for this. I don't know if that's the actual, like, unfortunately, it's not the thing that's going to fix everything, right? Like, not to get into any sort of.
There's a
like,
whole other.
Yeah, that's a whole other podcast.
I think it is great advice, though.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing it. Brie, if people want to find you,
Dun, dun.
They need to
where
feel
else?
joy, and you need to go follow Brie on the socials
So
after
where-
you take time for yourself.
Where can they find you?
I'm on Instagram, Brie Pointer. You can check out my website, briepointer.ca. You can check out our farm, waywardfarm.ca, or Wayward Farm on Instagram. My partner also roasts coffee, actually.
It's delicious.
This delicious cup from Done 1880 is
I'm enjoying some right now. I have a nice Americano. It's
Wayward
delicious.
Roaster. So we're Wayward Roaster on Instagram, and then you can buy coffee beans from us from waywardfarm.ca.
There's a whole, we've alluded to it, but there's a whole other series of conversations. We could talk about the farming. We could talk about the work and design. We could talk about the coffee roasting. So there's more. I'd ask one more question.
Yeah.
Could you just say your parents' first and last names?
Oh!
'Cause I think we should dedicate this episode to them.
Yeah. Oh, man. So my dad's name is Brie Pointer. That's actually where I got my name from. My mom and my dad named me Brianne Elizabeth Pointer. I go by Brie. My mom hated that because my name was my dad's. So my mom's name, and she'll be mad about this because she goes by Gail Pointer, but her first name is Marion. So yeah, Marion Gail Pointer. I haven't said her name in a while.
It's a beautiful name.
Yeah.
Beautiful names,
Beautiful
beautiful
name.
people, and you are just an embodiment of the wonderful things that they are. They give you a lot. So
Thanks, Greg.
thanks for sharing that with us. And this episode is definitely dedicated to them.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I love you guys. Thank you so much for having me and for all the things that you've done for me because I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Brie.
Thanks.
That's it for today. If you like this episode, hit follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. And if you'd be willing to leave a rating or a review, we do read every single one. And it genuinely helps more people find the show and helps us keep doing what we're doing. And if you do like this episode and what we're talking about here, you'll probably love our 100% free bi-weekly newsletter. It's called the Vienna 5, and you can find the link to that in the show notes. Music for this podcast is by Moby, who we still think is very cool. We're glad you're here. Thanks so much for listening.